You have former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo now running for New York City mayor, trying to revive his political career, and is entering into that same lane as Gavin, now saying Democrats are the reason that our big cities are falling apart.
You see a deterioration of conditions, and people say, why? And you're all Democrats, and I went to Los Angeles, and all I saw were blue tarps everywhere, and homeless living under bridges, etc. And I'm afraid to walk down the street. And it's all Democrats who are in charge. And there's no one else to blame. It's you.
Kari Lake joins us now to talk more about it. Isn't this something to see? They're obviously changing lanes. This is going to be, I think, where they move to for 28.
The rats are fleeing the ship. They know the ship is sinking. They know they were complicit in it. And look, I've moved beyond Democrat and Republican. We've seen Democrats do terrible things. We've seen some Republicans do terrible things. Sure. The question is, are you pro-America? And allowing people to fester on the streets, waste their human potential by encouraging them with policy to remain homeless, remain in drug addiction, remain mentally ill without getting them help. And we've seen as they've wasted and pilfered money that was meant and earmarked to help people who are homeless, and it was in these Democrat cities where that happened. And, you know, it's very rich for them now to come out when they realize that the collapse of the Democrat Party could take them down, well, Cuomo, that all of a sudden they're the common sense ones. I don't know.
Cuomo says that far left forces inside of his party force them to govern like radicals, that they're threatened with primaries if they don't govern the way we've seen them govern and just tank their cities and tank their states to hell and back. And they're scared of those factions, and that's why they do what they do. Is that an excuse?
So they don't have the, let me use the right word here. I don't want to say balls because that's inappropriate. They don't have the spine to stand up to a group of people that are wrong. That's disqualifying from here to eternity. If you don't have the courage when it's you versus people who are radicalized to stand up and say, no, that's wrong, then you don't have a leg to stand on. And I'm sorry, but Governor Cuomo was the guy behind so many of our grandparents and great-grandparents festering and dying in nursing homes. And what did that segment of the population choose to do? They tried to blame it on our elementary school-aged children, saying they were the ones that were killing grandma and grandpa because they weren't masked up and they weren't willing to take a vaccine. To me, that's unforgivable. And if you don't have the courage to stand up to radicalized people in your political party, then you should get out of politics. And frankly, you've lost the respect of the American people.
I want to ask you, we watched something that I thought was pretty amazing today at the White House with Ramaphosa from South Africa there. We watched our president do what our president never does in this country, which is actually call someone out. We've seen this a couple times from Trump. But he made it uncomfortable. He made it awkward. He forced an issue that needed to be forced against a very terrible guy who came in with a big smile and a lot of BS like politicians always do. What did you think of today?
You know, President Trump is not afraid to be bold and strong for this country and the American people, but he's proven to be really, I think it was in Saudi Arabia that the Crown Prince said he's the president of the world. He's standing up for what's right around the world, and he wants to bring peace to the world. He no longer wants to see countries that are just succumb to war and chaos and despair. And one of the worst things I've seen that has gotten the least amount of attention by the media is what's happening in South America, where it's literally racism. You're being killed for the color of your skin, pure and simple, and they are verbalizing it exactly the way that I just described it. And for him to allow this man to come into the Oval Office and call him out in front of the press, who in my opinion is guilty for not covering it, he was really calling out the press today. We all knew that this leader of this nation was doing terrible things, but Who is adding to that? The press who refuses to cover it. He forced them to cover it on live television today. It was a brilliant strategy, and it's bringing to light a very important topic that we need to talk about, which is the racially motivated murders.
As much as Peter Alexander over
at
NBC did not want to talk about it and could not wait to change the subject, which told you everything about NBC News, by the way. Kari Lake, good to see you. Thank you so much.
NBC, nothing but communism.
There you go. That's exactly right.